9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Hello. Good morning. I hope you're doing well. It's Thursday. Or as Matt Murphy always says, Matt Murphy loves to say it.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's his favorite thing to say.
He loves saying this. Friday Eve.
Friday Eve.
Get hype. That's Mac Morey, my producer, who is the most based producer in the building. Ken Weaver, the newsman, the most based newsman that we have.
Oh, yeah.
And you, fourth man in the crew on the super text line and the phone lines at 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. So, got a lot to go over today. Alice Rowley trying to win that mayor seat. It's election day. She might. She really could win it. I have faith. I have hope.
There it is. Some hope.
So when I talked to her campaign manager or whoever texted me, I don't know which one it was. Could just be a good friend. Anyway, I said, how does the early voting look? And she said it's 50-50. So that's good.
Wow.
That was good. That was from...
That's massive.
And that's from her side. So, I didn't read it anywhere. I just got it via text.
Yeah.
No source to back it up. But they said 50-50. So that's cool. If that's true, then it would favor us today because, conservatives show out on voting day. So that's pretty dope. And Alice is going to be joining us from wherever she is on the campaign trail today. She's going to be out and about.
Good. So she's coming on, though. That'll be great.
Yeah, she's going to be on at 11.
Awesome.
In between shaking babies and kissing hands.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're excited to and we wish her the best of luck. Like, Alice is super sweet. She's always very kind to me when she comes in here. I think that the choice between the two, it's a no-brainer that Alice would make the most sense. We always talk about how lousy blue Democrat-run cities are, to which people always say, but there's no Republican-run cities. There's no conservative red cities. It's, okay, let's do it then. Let's do it here in Nashville first, and we can set the bar and set the standard. And Alice is the perfect person for the job. So fingers crossed on that. We'll check in with her around 11 o'clock. The other story that I want to get to right off the bat, White House demanding media outlets to ramp up scrutiny of the Biden impeachment because it's based on lies. The Biden administration loves censoring information. Like, other than ice cream and sniffing kids, I think Joe Biden's favorite thing to do is censor information. Whether it's on social media and he's forcing people to censor information there. True information. Not misinformation, not disinformation, not conspiracy theories, but like real true information. He pushes for censorship there. And now, apparently Wednesday, the Biden administration demanded media outlets and executives provide negative coverage of the Biden impeachment inquiry, which it claims is based on lies. Crazy. If you're going to say that the Biden impeachment is based on lies and you're a member of the Mockingbird media, the best person to invite on is probably not Matt Gaetz. And that's what CNN's Abby Phillips did, to which Matt Gaetz, I personally feel like he mopped the floor with her. But Abby Phillips, for reasons unbeknownst to me, decided to invite Matt Gaetz on to talk about the impeachment inquiry, which, all right, cool. Like, I like that she did it. But if you're getting pressure from the Biden White House to cover the impeachment inquiry's lies, Matt Gaetz isn't the right guy to have on because he's going to bring truth and facts. And this is, can you give me some audio, Mac? Come on, man. I know it's Friday Eve.
It's my Friday, so.
Your Friday Eve is Mac's actual Friday. This is Abby Phillips and Matt Gaetz.
As to the quality of the evidence, though, I just have to say, I mean, we do have bank records, devices, laptops, travel records, changes in administration policy. Seems like pretty strong evidence to me.
None of which links President Biden to.
Well, it was Joe Biden on the phone.
None of which.
He was calling into the meetings. Wait, Abby, are you actually trying to tell your viewers that you don't believe that Joe Biden was involved in Hunter Biden's business deals?
It's not
a
about
hard case.
It's not about what I believe. It's about whether there is evidence that President Biden is linked to the misdeeds that might be linked to Hunter Biden. That's the issue.
It's not about what I believe, Congressman. It's never been about what I believe. It's about the evidence.
But I want to get back.
That was tortured. I mean, come on. Wait, hold on. Can you just acknowledge that when he calls into the business deals that he's involved? When he calls into the dinners, you don't think that's involvement?
When he calls in, can you acknowledge that he's involved? It's like, no, Congressman. In fact, Ian Sams, one of the Biden spokesperson, White House counsel. I don't know what his title is. He's a soy boy in the Biden administration. And Ian Sams went on MSNBC, and he explained that the only reason Biden called in to those business meetings, my friends, the only reason that he was ever checking in was because, he loves his son.
The president was present at some of the meetings between Hunter Biden and his business associates. Why was the president at those meetings on those phone calls?
Well, again, I think this is part of the right wing's misinformation machine to try to confuse people about what the truth is. The truth is that the president, as he has said publicly for years, calls his family every day to check in. He calls his son every day to check in. He calls his other family members to check in to see how they're doing. He loves them. They're a tight-knit family.
Oh, he loves them. That's why he calls. He's a loving, caring father. They're a tight-knit family. You know that. We've all read the excerpts from Ashley Biden's diary. They're tight. They do everything together. I actually went down some rabbit holes and did some research, believe it or not. And there's more than a dozen times that Vice President Joe Biden was meeting Hunter Biden's foreign business partners. So November of 2010, Joe Biden had to sit down with Eric Schwerin, that was the president of Hunter Biden's private equity firm, and they did that in the West Wing. In November of 2011, Joe Biden met with Chris Hines, a co-founder of Hunter's private equity firm, in the West Wing. In March of 2012, Joe Biden met with Andres Pastrana Arango, the former president of Colombia, who Hunter was doing business with, and he met him at Joe's personal residence. In December of 2013, Hunter flew aboard Air Force Two to China, which we all know about, where he was introduced to Jonathan Lee, a Chinese businessman. In February 2014, Joe had lunch with Hunter and two of Hunter's Mexican business partners and was pictured giving them a tour of the White House. In June of 2014, Joe Biden met Manuel Estrella, Hunter's Latin American business associate. After the meeting, Estrella emailed Hunter, I just met your father. So exciting. And Hunter replied, I'm glad it all finally came together. August 2014, pictures show Joe Biden golfing with his son, Hunter, and Devin Archer while they were both serving on the Burisma board. We all know about Devin Archer. April 2015, Joe Biden attended a dinner in Washington, D.C. with Hunter's business partners from Russia, Ukraine, and Kazakhstan. In November of 2015, Joe Biden hosted his son's Mexican business partners, Carlos Slim, Miguel Ailman Velasco, and Miguel Ailman Magnani at his personal residence. And I know I'm butchering these names, so forgive me. May of 2017. I skipped one. February of 2016. Biden flew Hunter and Jeff Cooper, a family business partner, to Mexico City for a business trip aboard Air Force Two. May of 2017, Joe Biden met with a family business partner, Tony Bobulinski, twice. June of 2018, Joe Biden texted Hunter saying that he was with Jeff Cooper, a family business partner, and that Cooper wanted to do work with him. Photos, emails, text messages, White House visitor logs all confirm these meetings took place. It's not up for debate. So why does Joe Biden keep lying, and why are they pushing the no evidence theory? Well, it's all because the only reason he was there is he loves his son. They're a tight-knit bunch.
He loves them. They're a tight-knit family.
Yeah, that's it. It's the only reason. I mean, why else would he be there?
This is your classic tight-knit American bunch, Chris. Come on.
He loves his son. And Hunter loves his dad. Otherwise, why would he be giving up half of his income to his dad? They love each other. I mean, they do. Like, there's loves his dad.
My dad regularly calls me and joins business meetings that I'm in. Come on.
Yeah.
Because he loves me.
100%. When I was interviewing with Dan Mandis,
I'm sure
for
your
the job,
father.
I said, "Hey, do you mind if my dad hops on the call with us?" I said that was like my first question, and Dan's like, "Why?" I said, "He loves me."
Dan's like, "Oh, well, I'd be remiss. Let me get my dad also on the phone." And then,
yeah, Dan said, "Oh, okay."
He loves him. They're a tight knit family.
That's how he sold it to Allison, the GM. We love each other, guys. It's no big deal. My dad might call in later today because he loves me.
He loves him. They're a tight knit family.
That's the only reason why Joe Biden was on the phone. Unbelievable. And then as all this is going on, the White House is demanding media outlets to not cover this. So the Biden administration, this is according to Breitbart, intends to send a letter to many establishment news organizations, including CNN, the New York Times, Fox News, the Associated Press, CBS News, and others. And they're saying you got to scrutinize this impeachment. Okay. I was. This is what I do sometimes for show prep. I start diving down rabbit holes, and I found some comments from Joe Biden on Trump's impeachment. And guys, the comments didn't age well for Joe. Actually, nothing ages well for Joe Biden. I mean, his mental capacities, they're not aging well. His previous policies that he instituted in the 90s, they're not aging well. His previous comments don't age well, and these ones are right up there with it. This was Biden on the Trump phone call to the Ukrainian president and the subsequent impeachment.
We have a president who believes there's no limit to his power. We have a president who believes he can do anything and get away with it. We have a president who believes he's above the law. Pursuing the leader of another nation to investigate a political opponent to help win his election is not the conduct of an American president.
Oh, weird. Oh, I don't know. I feel like Trump could say pretty much the same thing, maybe eliminate a word or two, and say that about Joe Biden today. The only difference being it was a perfectly fine phone call, and Joe Biden has mountains of evidence against him. Mountains. So here we are. The impeachment is totally fake, fabricated. Don't be a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, my friends. This is not. There's no evidence. There's no evidence, unfortunately. So we can just put this one to bed, guys.
Well, and it's not about what you believe.
You're right. You're right.
Silly you.
Yeah, silly me. I am but a humble radio host and a meme farmer. Yeah, there is no evidence. All right. Fair enough. We got more to go through. It is the Chris Hand Show, 920 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Got a problem for you, drivers. It is being called a police situation on 65 southbound in Madison. Right there before Briley Parkway, the right lane is blocked. And a judge in Georgia has just ruled on the prosecutor's request on trying all 19 defendants in the election interference case. We'll tell you what that judge said at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. Looking forward to your newscast at 9:30. My name is Chris Hand. Mac Morgan in the producer's seat. You on the Super Text line and the phone line, 615-737-9986. And we see you on the F&M Bank chat line on Super Talk TV. You can watch us anywhere you are. YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, we're everywhere you want to be. I do have some good news. Did you want to know the good news?
Always. Yes, please.
Mitt Romney is he's out. He's retiring. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
And I will say, he actually kind of sound based for a lot of his reasoning.
Nah.
No, you're not going to give him that?
I'm not going to give him that.
You're fair. I got ahead of myself. That was a stretch.
You've ruined Massachusetts and Utah. No. So this was Mitt Romney announcing that he was, not going to run for re-election. He's not retiring. He's going to collect those checks for another 2 years, but he's just letting everybody know he's mentally checking out. This is good old Mitt.
Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders. They're the ones that need to make the decisions that will shape the world they will be living in.
So he said that, and I was like, yeah, all right, cool, yeah. Like that is based.
I'm in on that.
Yeah, he's right. Like, I don't trust Mitt Romney to plan for the future. Like, bro, you got like max 15 years left.
Yeah.
Is that harsh?
No, that's fair.
Clock's
78,
ticking.
76.
Clock's ticking.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. Perfect. Let's get somebody else in there. But then he went on a tirade where it was just like, and folks, old man bad, orange man bad. Old man bad, orange man bad.
Now, we face critical challenges: mounting national debt, climate change, and the ambitious authoritarians of Russia and China.
He also lost me at climate change. I forgot about that part.
Totally didn't hear that part.
He lost me before old man bad, orange man bad. He lost me at climate change, but then it really pushed me over the edge when he went into his old man bad, orange man bad.
Neither President Biden nor former President Trump are leading their party to confront those issues.
Old man, orange man.
On deficits and debt, both men refuse to address entitlements, even though they know that this represents 2/3 of federal spending.
Old man, orange man.
Donald Trump calls global warming a hoax, and President Biden offers feel-good solutions that make no difference to the global climate.
Old man, orange man.
On China, President Biden underinvests in the military, and President Trump underinvests in our alliances.
Old man, orange man.
Political motivations too often impede the solutions that these challenges demand.
Oh, like the political motivation to just trash Trump on your way out, my friend. The political motivation of just be a never Trumper and to try to appear as anti-Democrat as you can, even though literally you sound like you're more old man than orange man in there. And if you were really a Republican at all, you wouldn't be taking shots at Trump on the way out. But hey, enjoy your retirement, Mitt. We salute you for your years of non-service and headaches. Thank you. Thank you for not running for re-election. I got a super text 9058. He knew he couldn't win. Of course. And I've also, Mitt's trash. Mitt Romney's a trash human being. Did he put his dog in a kennel on top of the car?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, never forget.
Trash.
9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$9:30 on the dot on this Thursday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Again, got a police situation that is hampering traffic flow in Madison. You got the right lane blocked, 65 southbound, right before Briley Parkway. Got a runoff election underway today in Nashville. The weather's going to be nice. Traffic, well, let's hope that holds up throughout the day. We'll be here to tell you about it. Full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Georgia election interference case update. A judge today decided former President Trump and 16 of his co-defendants will stand trial separately from 2 others. The judge said Kenneth Chesbrough and Sidney Powell would go on trial October 23rd as previously scheduled. The other 17 defendants in the Georgia election case, including former President Trump, would stand trial at a later date. District Attorney Fani Willis wanted them all tried together. And President Biden delivers what the White House is calling a major speech on the economy today in Maryland. It comes on the heels of inflation rising again and a USA Today poll showing Americans say they trust former President Trump over Biden on the economy. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. One of the things you hear me talk about frequently on my radio show that has been going for over 20 years in the Nashville market is that annuity sales are not necessarily a great thing for the end investor. Now, if you go to an investment firm, a lot of times you'll get that. The first thing that they recommend, an annuity. Banks and investment firms recommend these for one really good reason. And many times that reason isn't the best thing for you. It's commissions. It's a huge moneymaker for the investing industry. This is why I think it's so important that when you work with an investment advisor, that they not be paid on commission. It creates a huge conflict because it creates an incentive to sell you things that may not be in your best interest. If you want to learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call. We don't do anything on commissions. Or you can call 615-851-1950.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN 937. My name is Chris Hand. Thank you for being a part of the show. We love it when you join in, whether on the Super Text line or the phone lines. 615-737-9986. We've gotten quite a few mean texts about Mitt Romney. Some of it's very inappropriate. But I like it. Keep sending
I was about to say, we like that, though. That's okay.
Yeah, I can't read them on the air, but we literally laugh during the commercial breaks at a lot of your texts. Yes. So if you were one of the 20 people that sent inappropriate jokes about Mitt Romney or Joe Biden and how much he loves his family, thank you. Thank you for keeping our spirits elevated during the commercial breaks. I got a text from 8790, our friend Don. He said, hey, Don checking in. What's up, Don?
What's up, Don?
Todd, the crazy mailman, is here also.
Todd.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we got some good. Our crew is here.
Yes.
We roll deep on the super text line, and I love it. 615-737-9986. I wish, I wish Kamala Harris would feel the love from the Democratic Party the way I feel the love from super texters, but she doesn't. She doesn't. Nancy Pelosi was asked about Kamala Harris. And how people kind of rag on her about not doing anything. She was on with Anderson Cooper last night. This is what that sounded like.
Do you think she is the best running mate, though?
She's the vice president of the United States. So when people say to me, well, why isn't she doing this or that? I said, because she's the vice president.
Oh.
That's the job description. You don't do that much.
What? Yo, what? Like my entire night was made. Like, oh, all right, cool.
Sweet.
Cool. Good to know. That's the job.
You don't do that much. You don't.
You just don't. It's kind of like being Speaker of the House. We don't really, we just sit around. It's the weirdest thing. What on earth? Oh, Nancy. I want Nancy to do more interviews. This interview with Anderson Cooper was so good. It was so good. She talked. She said if Trump. This is on her talking about Trump saying that he would prosecute political opponents and go after Democrats if he regained the presidency. Okay, this one is not as good as her saying Kamala Harris doesn't do anything because that's the job. It's not as good as that, but it's pretty solid.
Say, what did you just say? He was going to indict all of his political opponents?
He told a rally that he would tell his attorney.
I like how she starts like, say what you were going to say? I wasn't listening, but this is just say what you were going to say.
Say, what did you just say? He was going to indict all of his political opponents?
He told a rally that he would tell his attorney general to indict his political opponents. I mean, that's a banana republic without the banana. I mean, it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing.
Oh. It's just a republic. If it's a banana republic without the banana.
It's just a
republic.
Nancy's just hungry.
So where's my ice cream? Nancy Pelosi. Oh my gosh. She's a national treasure. We don't have to like her policy or anything like that, but we're going to miss her when she's gone. Gosh. We are. Luckily, she's running for re-election. So, well, we got her. She's going to be locked in for a few more years. Ugh. How can the people of San Francisco ever want to re-elect this woman? What do you campaign on to get re-elected in San Francisco? Hey, we're going to reduce poop in the streets by 20% by 2025 and give out free needles. What are you going to do?
Gas is going to be $9 a gallon, guys. Don't worry.
We're gonna fix homelessness by making tents and zoned as a residence. Unbelievable. It's a banana republic without the banana. If you indict your political opponents, unreal. All right, yeah, that's Nancy Pelosi. Classic. The Democrat Party is absolutely in shambles right now. They're losing, you guys. They're losing, and we have to really take a full account of the fact that these guys are losing. They're losing. That's why they're threatening the media outlets to scrutinize the impeachment and make sure that they tell everybody it's lies. That's why they censor your speech on social media because they're losing. They're in their death throes. I firmly believe this. And you see it with things like the New Mexico governor issuing a public health emergency to temporarily restrain the Second Amendment, which, by the way, and this is another good news. During COVID, there was a lot of pushback against the police, like you're enforcing unconstitutional mandates as law, and people pushed back and said you're acting like foot soldiers. You're not acting like you're there to uphold the Constitution. Well, a temporary restraining order has been issued against the New Mexico governor's concealed carry ban. This is a big deal. Gun Owners of America, GOA, secured a temporary restraining order against New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham's ban on concealed carry. Breitbart News reporting that GOA filed their lawsuit in a U.S. District Court against Grisham's order on Sunday, 2 days after the ban was announced. At the time, GOA Executive Vice President Eric Pratt told Breitbart News that Gun Owners of America has filed a federal lawsuit challenging her gross and egregious violation of the U.S. Constitution. Her claim that there are exceptions to the Second Amendment is not only wrong, but it also blows open a huge hole in the Bill of Rights. GOA will not rest until the rights of New Mexicans are restored. So for now, the temporary restraining order is an oral order. There's going to be more coverage on this as it's released. But the Democrats are losing. They're reaching. They're disagreeing with each other. When this lady comes out and issues a public health order to ban your constitutional rights over gun crime, and David Hogg and Ted Lieu jump out in defense of the Constitution, like, whoa, we haven't seen that kind of disjointedness in the Democrat Party in a while. So this is exciting stuff. They're absolutely losing. Now, the New Mexico governor has been responding to all the criticism. She responded to Bernalillo County's Sheriff John Allen. He had a press conference and he said, we're not enforcing that law. And his press conference was like, he's actually the sheriff is so true. He's like, he said that the sheriff in a press conference said his brother and his nephew were in a car that was shot at. And he's like, who am I to say that he can't have his gun and his firearm to protect him and his son? We're not enforcing that law. Or the mandate or the public health order. And good on him. Because the laws on the books aren't being followed by the criminals in the first place. So you're just going to disarm law-abiding citizens? Yeah, super lame. Well, New Mexico governor is responding to Sheriff John Allen's pushback. And she says that she doesn't need a sheriff giving her a lecture on constitutionality. Oh, okay. Tough talk. The sheriff said the temporary ban challenges the foundations of our Constitution, but most importantly, it is unconstitutional. So, I mean, this woman is doubling down. She doesn't think that your constitutional rights are given by God. She thinks that they are granted by her. And luckily for us, the police officers, the sheriff, the district attorney in that area, they are not going to comply with that unconstitutional order. But, I mean, the New Mexico governor doesn't think that your rights are absolute. She went on to say no in her original press conference. She doesn't think any right is absolute.
I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute.
That was the New Mexico governor. I am still surprised that she is not being perp-walked in shackles for just wiping her rear end with the Constitution with that public health order. She should be in shackles. You swear to uphold the Constitution. She's not doing that. Luckily, the law enforcement officers, the justice around her, the district attorneys, the sheriffs, the police officers, the boots on the ground, if you will, are saying, yeah, hard pass. Hard pass. I mean, when you live in a town, city, district where you're dealing with criminal elements, gangs, cartels, illegal aliens, let's also start a legal battle over guns with law-abiding citizens. Yeah. Luckily, everyone with their heads screwed on straight said hard pass. And now we see a temporary restraining order being issued against her concealed carry ban. Yes, thank you. She should be removed from office. She should resign in disgrace. This woman is garbage. Garbage. I'm glad she's not getting away with it, though. And again, we should celebrate that win because we saw during COVID, everybody bent the knee to mandates that weren't laws. Everyone. And we knew during COVID that temporary restriction of our rights would be stretched into arenas like the Second Amendment or the First Amendment. And it was stretched into the First Amendment during COVID. We were censored online for saying things that has now been proven as true. I mean, we learned just yesterday the CIA whistleblower saying that the CIA paid scientists off to say that the COVID virus didn't leak from the lab. You and I were banned off Twitter for saying it leaked from the lab. It leaked from the lab. Like they're coming after our rights. So we should celebrate the fact that they're losing. We should. 8403 texted in and said, but I bet her security detail still carries. Yes, of course they do. Of course her security detail carries. Guns for me, not for thee. Anybody that preaches against the Second Amendment, yeah, give up your guns first. Yep. Ain't gonna happen. Statman texted in, public health orders equal illegal, unconstitutional edicts. Yep, hands down, you're right. Hands down, you're right. 7781 texted in and said, Lujan is pronounced Lujan. Well, she doesn't deserve my respect enough to correct her name on the air, so it'll be Lujan, as far as I'm concerned. I don't have enough respect for this woman. She doesn't have enough respect for her, the people in her state. She doesn't have enough respect for the Constitution, so, whatever. She quickly became my least favorite Michelle in politics. 950 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
as
Let's check what it's like out there for drivers right now. Looks like Goodlettsville, Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. You got an 11-minute delay due to a crash. The right shoulder is blocked. That's Vietnam Veterans Boulevard westbound right before I-65. And a judge has dealt a blow to the prosecutor in the Georgia election interference case. I'll give you the details at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. So there's a lot of talk that Kevin McCarthy didn't have a vote to open the impeachment inquiry, to which people said, Nancy Pelosi didn't have a vote either. Well, Nancy was on MSNBC this morning. Nancy's just making the rounds, and she said it's hogwash, and it's just ridiculous to say she opened the impeachment inquiry into Trump without a House vote. This is her on MSNBC this morning.
Speaker McCarthy made the argument the other day that, Nancy Pelosi set this precedent. She waited a long time to have a vote on the first impeachment of Donald Trump. You did hold a vote, we should add, but he said you made the rules and he's just following them now by not holding this initial vote for an impeachment inquiry. What do you say to that?
I say that that's hogwash. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I don't know why the press keeps repeating it.
Why does the press keep repeating it? Well, Nancy doesn't understand the internet and doesn't understand that everything's on the internet forever. So I remind you from October 15th, 2019, Nancy Pelosi on opening an impeachment inquiry without a vote.
As the distinguished chairman said, there's no requirement that we have a vote. And so at this time, we will not be having a vote. And I'm very pleased with the thoughtfulness of our caucus in terms of being supportive of the path that we are on in terms of fairness, in terms of seeking the truth, in terms of upholding the Constitution of the United States.
Why does the press keep repeating it? Why? Why do they keep repeating these falsehoods? Why? There's no evidence in the impeachment. There's no evidence that I opened an impeachment inquiry into Trump without a vote. Don't believe what you see. Don't believe your own memory. Don't believe everything on the internet. Take off the tinfoil hat. 9:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
10 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. So far, a beautiful day for the Nashville runoff election. Voters to decide the next mayor, 8 Metro Council seats. Also fill an open state House seat. Polls close at 7 tonight. Got the full forecast in 2 minutes. Former President Trump and 17 other defendants in the Georgia election interference case cannot be tried together, according to a judge's ruling this morning. Olivia Rubin reports.
The judge has granted a big win for Trump and other defendants who were trying to push out when they were slated to go to trial, saying that he would sever the case, meaning we're now going to have multiple trials in this Georgia election interference case, at least 2, the 2 that will be on October 23rd. And then there is the issue of the other 17 defendants.
Yeah, Kenneth Chesbrough and Sidney Powell will be tried together on the 23rd of October. No date set for former President Trump and the others. By this time tomorrow, the GM plant in Spring Hill and others across the nation may have workers on the picket line. Here's Terry Moran in Detroit.
They're asking for a 40% raise, and that is a striking number. But they argue that that's what the CEOs of this company have given themselves a raise over the last several years since the last contract was signed. So they're what's good for the goose is good for the gander. They're also asking for the restoration of pension benefits that were eliminated for new hires back during the financial crisis, when auto workers argue the auto industry in this country was saved in part on the backs of auto workers. They took huge cuts in pension and benefits. They want to see that restored.
Deadline for a deal is midnight. And right now in Tennessee, Governor Lee making it clear with COVID cases on the rise, there will be no mask or vaccine mandates. By the way, that new booster is expected in health departments and pharmacies as soon as this week. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
.10:04 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Mac Maury, he's behind the glass wall producing. Ken Weaver behind the other glass wall in the newsroom. You guys behind the computer screen and the phone screens. 615-737-9986 if you want to add a comment. Call, text, hop on the F&M Bank chat line. All things available to you. Thank you for listening to the show. I haven't even been on the air here 2 months. And I can honestly say, I've been having the most fun doing the show. And
dude, it's been a blast.
Yeah, and despite having to deal with Mac every day except Friday, it's been a lot of fun.
It's only 4 days a week, man. So you can make it through it.
Yeah, it's Fridays are great. I'm just jerk. No, I'm just being a jerk. Mac, I say it all the time. Mac is he's one of the best guys in radio I've worked with. Same with Ken Weaver. But by far, the best listeners I've ever had in radio are here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We have the smartest audience, the funniest audience. You guys are constantly cracking us up on the Super Text line, so thank you for all the jokes, even the inappropriate ones we can't read on the air. Those are my favorite. Those are my fave. 615-737-9986 to text in. I do want to get to Karine Jean-Pierre's press conference. She says so much without saying anything at all. So this was her press conference yesterday, okay? And she opened up strong. She opened up her press conference by saying, "I'm not going to take any questions." so all right, thanks.
Sick.
Awesome.
Great.
Super dope.
Will the president cooperate fully now that Speaker McCarthy has pulled the trigger on an impeachment inquiry?
So I'm going to refer you to my colleagues over at the counsel's office on any specifics to the inquiry.
I'm not. Nope. Not answering those questions. Did anybody expect her to answer the questions? No. I chuckled so hard doing the show prep. This woman has a notebook that is like, I don't know, dude, like 8 inches thick. And it's 8 inches thick, and it's got all those little sticky notes that way you can find your place really quickly. And I was joking with my wife. I was like, all of those notes say on this topic, refer to this person. On this topic, refer to this person. You have an 8-inch thick notebook to say, I'm not going to comment.
Here's the excuse as to why I won't answer any questions. Yep.
She doesn't even have an excuse. She just says, oh, this is the office you're going to need to talk to. Get an excuse from them. But yeah, she opens it up with, you're going to have to talk to my colleagues over at the counsel's office. Oh, thanks. Then she wanted to focus on Bidenomics. That's what she was really there to talk about. Bidenomics, crashing bikes, crashing economies. Joe Biden. It's working. Karine Jean-Pierre said Bidenomics has turned the economy around.
So not going to get, you heard Jared, the chair of CEA, talk specifically about the economy, speak specifically about a major speech that the president's going to do tomorrow on Bidenomics. You've heard us talk about Bidenomics and how we believe has turned the economy around, and just not from us, but from the data that we certainly have seen.
Oh, yeah, the data. It's the data. Data-driven. It's the information fuel that the White House works on. It's the data, guys. It's a data-oriented business. You heard. And, Joe Biden is going to have a major speech on the economy today. I'm excited about that. It's going to be Gaff City.
It's working.
It is. It's certainly working. It's funny. I saw a breaking news story yesterday. Now, they didn't say that this is for cost saving. They didn't say that this was if it was for cost saving measures or for COVID, which is back. It's terrifying, everybody. Is the COVID in the room with you right now? All right, so I don't know. The news story wouldn't elaborate on what it was, if it was for cost cutting or for COVID. But I assume that this is happening because Bidenomics is working. McDonald's is removing the self-serve soda machines.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh my gosh. Is that, what, to cut costs to
I think it's because Bidenomics is working.
Because it's working. Gotcha.
It's working.
Yeah, that was my first, The news article said we don't know what it is. It could be COVID. It could be Bidenomics. We don't know. We don't know. We don't. It could be either or. But my first instinct was, this is Bidenomics working. Crashing bikes and crashing economies, baby. Joe Biden, 2024. That's what we're doing. But Karine Jean-Pierre, she was quickly reeled back into the impeachment inquiry conversation. So she had to go back into her 8-inch thick notebook to find out how she was going to not answer the questions. But she did have the talking points ready. There's no evidence.
You see Republicans in Congress, right? They have spent all year investigating the president. That's what they've spent all year doing. And have turned up with no evidence, none, that he did anything wrong. I mean, that is what we've heard over and over again from their almost year-long investigation. And that's because the president didn't do anything wrong.
Okay, yeah, no evidence. There's no evidence. There's no evidence. Okay. So I got a list of more than 10 times that Vice President Joe Biden played a role in Hunter's business dealings. Shall we? Okay, let's do it. Hunter Biden got his dad to write a recommendation letter to Brown University for the son of her powerful Chinese business partner, Jonathan Lee. Influence peddling, right? Hunter Biden also arranged for his dad to write a letter to Georgetown University, Hunter's alma mater, on behalf of that same business partner, Lee's daughter. Huh. Influence peddling. In December 2013, Hunter and his daughter, Finnegan Biden, traveled to China on Air Force Two with then Vice President Joe Biden during an official 6-day trip to Asia. Joe met with Chinese President Xi Jinping and other officials and also met with that Chinese business partner, Jonathan Lee, in the lobby of the hotel where the American delegation was staying. Oh, coincidences. In a 2019 text message to his daughter, Naomi, Hunter Biden barely wrote, "I hope you all can do what I did and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. It's really hard, but don't worry. Unlike Pop," talking about Joe Biden, "I won't make you give me half your salary." I could literally go down this whole list. I could. And there'll be time for it. I have it saved. So unless the FBI comes in through a back door and deletes it, I have the list. I also have a list of evidence from email aliases to the 1023 form, to Hunter's statements about, giving half his income to his dad, to the video of Joe bragging about firing the Ukrainian prosecutor, to the FBI informant alleging bribes. I mean, there is evidence. There's, and even if the Democrats want to say there's no evidence, like Karine Jean-Pierre said, there's at least enough circumstantial stuff to warrant a full investigation, like a full throttled investigation. If you or I did any of this, we would be, I don't know, name a famous prison. I was going to say Alcatraz, but that's like closed. And then I thought about that distillery up the road. But the prison distillery towards Knoxville? Yeah. So and then I lost track of what I was going to say. We'd be in jail. We would be in jail if we did a quarter of what Hunter and Joe have done. They wouldn't tell us that there's no evidence. Like, if we had a lawyer saying there's no evidence, that wouldn't fly. Of course it wouldn't fly. But Karine Jean-Pierre insists there's no evidence. And then she was asked, how confident are you that there will be no evidence that incriminates Joe Biden and Hunter's business dealings? I mean, I just started reading from the list of all the times Joe was involved in meeting Hunter's business partners. But, hey, how confident are you, Karine?
On impeachment, you just mentioned House Republicans' baseless claims. How confident are you that there will be no evidence that incriminates President Biden and Hunter's business dealings as this goes forward?
So let me just give a little bit of a lay down here, because I think it's important. Any specifics to the inquiry, certainly I want to say this at the top, as I said to Darlene, I'm going to refer you to my colleagues at the counsel's office. But I also want to be clear about a couple of things.
Ready for this? This is the pivot of all pivots. Okay? The question was, how confident are you that there will be no evidence that incriminates President Biden? Okay? So she says, I want to refer you to the counsel's office. like I already said. It's in my notes. You can refer to my notes after the briefing. But then she pivots.
I want to say this at the top. As I said to Darlene, I'm going to refer you to my colleagues at the counsel's office. But I also want to be clear about a couple of things.
Here's the pivot right here.
I just talked about Bidenomics. I just talked about what the president's going to do tomorrow, really deliver a major speech, something that the American people want to hear about. What are we doing to improve their lives, work on the economy? And these are real issues, real priorities for Americans. And like I said, like lowering costs. But what you see Republicans in Congress, right, they have spent all year investigating the president. That's what they've spent all year doing. And have turned up with no evidence, none, that he did anything wrong. I mean, that is what we've heard over and over again from their almost year-long investigation.
So she pivots into Bidenomics, and then she reminds everybody that there's no evidence. The Republicans have been investigating all year long, and they've turned up with nothing. Nothing. Oh, nothing. No suspicious activity reports of wire transfers. No, that was fake. No text messages. No, those were fake. No emails. Of course those were fake. WhatsApp messages. Fake news. Photos of Joe with Hunter's business partners. Fake news. Fake news. Whistleblower testimonies. Fake news. There's no evidence. Thanks, Karine. Thanks. The Karine Jean-Pierre press conferences are some of my favorites. But how confident are you that there'll be no evidence? There's no evidence. Again, emails, texts, photos, visitor logs, voicemails, firsthand accounts, fake news. Fake news. So how confident are you that there will be no evidence that incriminates the president?
Karine, can you describe how President Biden reacted to the impeachment decision by the...
I don't have anything to share about the president's reaction to this. All I can tell you is the president's focus on the American people, hardworking American people. You'll see him in a few minutes when he speaks to his cancer cabinet, and then you'll certainly hear from him tomorrow with the Bidenomics.
No comment. No comment on how Joe Biden reacted to the impeachment inquiry. If it was anything the way he reacted allegedly to Hunter Biden's impending indictment on the gun charge, maybe he was plunged into sadness. Could he have been plunged into sadness? There's a good chance that Joe just hasn't been told that there's an impeachment inquiry going on. There's a good chance that he was told and then he forgot. There's a good chance that there was no reaction at all, just a blank stare. But then she was asked, can you explain why the president interacted with so many of his son's foreign business associates? To which Karine promptly took her 8-inch notebook and walked out.
And with that, folks...
Can you explain why the president interacted with so many of his son's foreign business associates? More than half of voters told CNN they believe the president was involved and he lied.
She just walks out.
You can't have a response to that, Karine?
She just chucks up the deuces. We out. Later, dog. We're rolling.
Isn't it her job to comment?
Quite literally, that's the job.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like vice president, though. You're not really supposed to do anything. So
no. The vice president, doesn't do anything.
She's the vice president of the United States. So when people say to me, "Well, why isn't she doing this or that?" I say, "Because she's the vice president. That's the job description." What? You don't do that much. You know.
That was Nancy Pelosi on with Anderson Cooper. The Scoop with Anderson Cooper. I think that's the name of the show.
Karine's learning from Kamala very well then.
Yeah. You just don't do anything. You don't do anything. I also thought it was weird that Joe Biden was meeting with his cancer cabinet. I thought...
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's what she said. That's what Karine said in the press conference.
I thought
the same thing. Thought he cured cancer.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
Maybe it came back like COVID. So dumb. Oh, what a clown world we're living in. It's ridiculous. If we wrote a movie and we tried to get it, in theaters, people would just say no. No, it's not believable. A president with dementia and a press secretary that doesn't answer questions and a vice president that doesn't do anything? Come on, man. It's not realistic. Yet here we are. Here we are. It's a clown show.
What a ridiculous clown show.
1020 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Getting sloppy out there in traffic, drivers. We got a crash blocking the left two lanes of 65 southbound under Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Then in Goodlettsville, you've got a crash blocking the right shoulder of Vietnam Veterans Boulevard westbound right before 65. Georgia election interference case update. Got a brand new ruling from the judge today. The Spring Hill GM plant and others across the nation may be in a strike by this time tomorrow morning. And FedEx in Memphis says it's going to have to lay people off. We'll tell you who. Coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Voting is open. Got the mayoral runoff happening right now, Election Day. Polls open until 7 o'clock. We're going to have Alice Rowley joining us at 11 to give a live update from Nashville. Let us know what it looks like on the ground. Fingers crossed that Alice wins. Robert in Nashville, you have a comment on the Nashville election. Robert, you're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Rob?
Hey, how are you, Chris?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. First-time caller to you. This wasn't what I was going to call and talk about. I've got a whole palette of things for you to talk about for the next year, but I got to talk about the election today.
Perfect.
Wife and I just came from voting District 22 out in Bellevue.
Nice. Did you get a sticker?
Yeah, we both got stickers.
All right, perfect.
Yeah. So I asked at the end as we were walking out, and they were kind enough. I didn't know this. They showed me the voting statistics, as in who has voted so far, not what they voted, but how many people have voted. There's a total of 2,200 people that can vote in that district. There were less than 500 that had voted.
No kidding.
So if you want Nashville to end up now, Freddie O'Connell got on Matt Murphy's show live for that interview. I know you're aware of that. This is just a few weeks ago, and said live on the air that he feels the Nashville voters have spoken and they want Nashville to be more like Vegas or L.A., something like that. And I've heard Atlanta mixed in there before. If that's what you voters want, sit on your butts and you'll get exactly what you deserve. Nashville,
yeah, 100%,
is not supposed to be like Las Vegas or L.A.
No, it definitely shouldn't.
Get up, get out, and vote. Overall, in all the districts, there's less than 20% voter turnout so far today, and we're halfway through the morning. We're pushing up on, it's 10:30. We're pushing up on noon here. Before long, 7 o'clock's when those polls close. Get up, get out, and vote, and be smart about this. Otherwise, quit crying. And you think you got a tax hike before? Wait till you see what's coming with Freddie O'Connell.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, and if you like tent cities,
that's right.
If you like crime,
that is correct.
I always get pushback. I point out blue cities failing. I point out the crime in blue cities, and everybody says, "Well, there's no Republican-run cities." All right, let's do it. Let's set the example here in Nashville, and we could do it with Alice Rowley.
That is correct. And I'll give you one more thing on this affordable housing that all the politicians talk about. Alice Rowley's the only one that's actually addressed it as far as having to go tax cuts, not raises. All you people that got tax raises, those uber wealthy that are pushing for all that affordable housing, that's Section 8 from the government, and they'll get tax breaks for it. Us Joes have to pay that bill, and our taxes will go up another 30%. We won't get those tax breaks that the Ubers do. Get up off your butts and vote. Otherwise, shut up, please.
No,
you get what you deserve.
I hear you. No, thank you. And I'm getting texts coming in. 1400 says, tell Robert we're on the way. I got my friend Chris texting in 1973. He said, tell him, the Republicans are working and we'll probably be there a little bit later. Maybe we're going to get a lunch rush.
Well, I work for myself, so I scheduled around it today.
Hey, I get it, man. I get it. Hey, thanks for the call. And, get out there and vote. Like Robert said, this is important. Do you want Nashville to turn into Las Vegas? If you do, stay home. If you don't, get out there and vote, because Alice Rowley is definitely the lady for the job. We don't need Freddie O'Connell. This is where we're at. Do you want it? Do you want your city to go down the road of so many other blue cities? It's time to get up. It's time to get up and go vote. This is where we're at. I got a text from 6265. I voted for Alice in Old Hickory. They said there were only 62 votes so far. Let's go, guys. Get up. Take a break. Go run to your polling place and vote. The time is now. Alice is going to be joining the show. Let us know what she's seeing on the ground at 11 o'clock. The time, however, my friends, 10:30. Ken Weaver waiting in the weeds with the headlines on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 2 minutes. Georgia election interference case update. A judge has decided former President Trump and 16 of his co-defendants will stand trial separately from 2 others, dealing a blow to DA Fani Willis, who wanted them all together starting October 23rd. Now, attorneys Kenneth Chesbrough and Sidney Powell will be going to trial together October 23rd. Trump's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, still trying to get his trial moved to federal court. The Spring Hill GM plant and others across the nation may be on a strike by this time tomorrow morning. Terry Moran is in Detroit.
Union members pointing to a decade of record profits for the automakers and to those huge CEO salaries.
I don't mind them making that money, but I think we need to take care of the employees.
But the companies say the workers' demands are unrealistic, especially as the industry struggles to transition to electric vehicles.
They want a 40% pay raise over a 4-year period, a 4-day work week, and the return to pension and retiree benefits. Right now in Memphis, FedEx says it's going to lay off what it calls a small percentage of IT and finance workers as part of its $4 billion cost-cutting plan. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. One of the things you hear me talk about frequently on my radio show that has been going for over 20 years in the Nashville market is that annuity sales are not necessarily a great thing for the end investor. Now, if you go to an investment firm, a lot of times you'll get that. The first thing that they recommend, an annuity. Banks and investment firms recommend these for one really good reason. And many times that reason isn't the best thing for you. It's commissions. It's a huge moneymaker for the investing industry. This is why I think it's so important that when you work with an investment advisor, that they not be paid on commission. It creates a huge conflict because it creates an incentive to sell you things that may not be in your best interest. If you want to learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call. We don't do anything on commissions. Or you can call 615-851-1950.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Thought I was going to talk about Paul Winkler there, but Matt got a little trigger happy on the bumper music.
Making you wait for it.
That's all right. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you for being a part of the show. We love y'all. Anything you want to talk about? 615-737-9986. We got Alice Rowley joining the show at 11. Excited to see what she's seeing on the ground. It's a big day in Nashville. This is a big vote, y'all. I think we have a legitimate chance to win the mayoral seat. When I talked to her campaign via text, they said that the early voting was 50-50. That looks good for us. Low voter turnout right now, like I know our friend was saying get up and go vote, and I'm a little bit encouraged by low voter turnout right now. We'll get out there at lunch. We'll get out there after work and hopefully drive those numbers up. But I mean, 62 votes in Old Hickory, one texter said. Those are rookie numbers. We gotta pump those numbers up. So get out there and vote for my friend Alice. She'll be joining the show at 11 o'clock, after 11 and change. So be here for that. Also, the Biden administration, they're focusing on the good. They don't want to focus on the bad. They want to focus on the good. So they trotted out the top Biden economic advisor yesterday, a man by the name of Jared Bernstein. And Jared came out, and Jared wanted to let you know, the economy, bro, it's rocking. It is so good. So I don't know what numbers you're looking at, but apparently we're doing great.
From a position of strength. The U.S. economy is in solid. Turning to Bidenomics, we start from a position of strength. The U.S. economy is in solid shape, with real GDP growth supported by strong consumer spending that is itself supported by a strong labor market delivering wage gains, accounting for inflation. And I have a next figure showing that the extent to which you see inflation coming down and prices and wages actually beating prices there, both for all workers and for middle wage workers. This figure.
So he had a graph. That's how you knew he was legit. And the line for wages, it was going up, and the line for inflation was going down. And so if you look at the line that goes up, and you look at the line that goes down, Bidenomics is working. I mean, don't look at the facts. Look at the graph. The graph had wages, the line for wages going up, and the line for inflation going down. Don't buy in to all these crazy conspiracy theories about how real wages have slumped by 3.1% since Biden took office. That's a conspiracy theory. In fact, the Biden economic advisor, Jared Bernstein, he made a point to let everybody know that the buying power of your paycheck, it's actually, you guys, believe it or not, and maybe you'll notice this the next time you go to the grocery store, but the buying power of your paycheck it's actually going up.
That the buying power of your paycheck is going up, and that's the kind of breathing room we're looking for here.
Okay. The buying power of your paycheck is going up. Cool. Good to know. I mean, prices have gone up by like 17%, while real wages have slumped by 3% since Biden took office. But if you looked at the graph that this guy had, and if you followed the lines, super solid. If we're actually judging based on the graph that Jared Bernstein had at the press conference instead of like actual data, we're doing great. But you have to focus on the graph and not focus on what's actually happening at the grocery store. So maybe I'll tweet out a picture of the graph so you guys get it. But things are going great, all right? We're going to have a big speech about the success of Bidenomics today from Sleepy Joe, and I'm excited. I hope he brings the graph, because the graph...
Oh, yeah.
The graph really put things into perspective because the way the arrows were pointing, you could clearly see inflation's going down.
It's working.
There it is. All right.
When is that today?
I don't have any idea.
I need to look at that up. I want to see when that is.
I don't know. Is Joe Biden appointment viewing? Is that something? That's something we record on our TiVo. Leave the record player on. Record the speech on your TiVo. But, the Biden economic advisor got a little pushback. From the free press, and that was cool. It was cool to see.
You have PCE and CPI. So we now have 2 inflation reports in a row where year over year the headline inflation number has gone up. You couple that with real average hourly wages are actually down since the day President Biden took office, about 3%. So is that Bidenomics?
Whoa! Stop bringing in facts, bro.
Yeah, no, I think we have a disagreement on a fact there. So, and we can certainly
we have a disagreement on a fact. But if you see my graph, wages are up, inflation is down.
Show you CEA's data on this. Real wages are up relative to before the pandemic. They're up for all private sector workers, but they're up even more for production non-supervisory workers. That's a term from the establishment survey that comes out every month. It's 80% of the workforce that's either blue collar in manufacturing or non-managers in services, and those wages are actually above the pre-pandemic level in real terms. So we just have a factual disagreement there.
Oh, we're disagreeing on the facts. That's the problem. You guys got to focus on the graph, not the facts. And I mean, the facts are real wages are down by 3.1%. That's the facts. I mean, and we're also seeing American auto workers could be going on strike. You know, things are going to get worse before they get better with Bidenomics. UAW, United Auto Workers, they're poised to go on strike. They feel abandoned by Democrats as the Biden agenda is shifting towards green energy, and there's going to be a lot of jobs lost. So the American Auto Workers, about 150K of them are represented by the UAW union. They're fed up with Democrats and Joe Biden because they're pursuing the green energy agenda. I mean, it's going to eliminate jobs and shift billions up to corporate executives, they say. How do unions still support Joe Biden and Democrats? Honestly, it's so weird to me that unions are still so pro-Democrat. All the Democrats do is just shut those jobs down. Left and right. Whether it's auto workers, steel workers, the energy sector. How do these unions support the Democratic Party? It's not the union members. No. The UAW members feel abandoned by the Democratic Party, but the leadership still seems to support the Democratic Party. It's unreal. The UAW president, Bob King, told Politico this week, I think there's a segment of the Democratic Party that sees itself as serving corporations rather than the common good. We've had a lot of disappointments. As Breitbart News has chronicled, Biden's IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, is showering automakers with a massive windfall via tax credits for electric vehicles made in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. But at the same time, the publicly funded transition from combustion engines to EVs has the potential to eliminate millions of American auto jobs altogether. UAW President Shawn Fain, who has made sure to withhold the union's endorsement from Biden, has called out the green energy agenda for merely shifting wealth to the top as auto workers see their salaries slashed. So, Jared Bernstein, you know, the unions are seeing their wages slashed. I mean, I like his graph with the arrow pointing up on wages, but on the ground, people are making less money. Things are costing way more. And that's where we're at. And the UAW could be striking. In a recent UAW report, the union looked at General Motors and LG's EV battery plant in Lordstown, Ohio, known as Ultium Cells, which replaced GM's old vehicle assembly plant. While workers at the former plant earned up to $30 an hour, the UAW notes that workers at the new Ultium Cells plant have been earning about $16.50 an hour. With a raise, but they get a raise to $20 an hour after 7 years. So if inflation keeps going the way it's going, that $20 an hour in 7 years is going to be worth less than the $16.50 an hour they're making today. Crazy. Weeks ago, the UAW, the United Auto Workers, fought to secure pay increases at Ultium Cells, scoring workers an additional $3 to $4 an hour and thousands of dollars in back pay. But now the UAW is warning the nation's auto companies that it will go on strike if certain demands are not met. For instance, The UAW is looking to secure historic pay increases for workers to mirror the massive pay increase that executives have gotten. The big three CEOs saw their pay increase by 40% over the last 4 years, while our pay only went up by 6%. General Motors CEO Mary Barra in 2022 raked in almost $29 million, which is 362 times the median paycheck of the average GM employee. Is this just the big three? How are people feeling at the Nissan plant in Smyrna? I mean, seriously. Are you underpaid and overworked? Probably. I'd be willing to bet you are. A study from the Economic Policy Institute, EPI, last year found that company executives are earning 399 times their average employee's paycheck, whereas in 1965, they were earning about 20 times their average employee's paycheck. It's a class thing, you know. More money for them, not for you. I almost support them going on strike. Like, do it. I know it's going to end up hurting you and I. We're going to end up paying more and more and more. But how can you not back these workers? Got a text from 3902. Hey, Chris, the unions have been conning the members for years. Yep. Friend Duffy texted in and said a lot of the CWA members are dropping out of the union due to national leaders supporting the Dems. Us workers want no part of it. I don't blame you. Our friend Keith texted in, corruption at the top of union leadership. Payoffs and kickbacks. The Democrat way. Remember Hoffa. Never forget. 3616 texted in the 50s and 60s, unions meant something. Nowadays, they don't represent the working people. I know, I was one. They helped pass Obamacare and forced thousands of people to lose their health care because of junk, and they never had to pay one dime of their own. Bobby texted in and said, Nissan is not unionized. No, but I didn't say that. But underpaid and overworked? Maybe. 8980 said, now do inflation-adjusted cost of living. I mean, seriously. If you look at just the numbers, we're basically in the silent depression. That's how it feels. Steve in Columbia, you have a comment on the GM strike that's we're staring down the barrel of. What's up, Steve? You're on Super Talk.
Yeah. Hi, Matt. How you doing?
Oh, good. It's Chris. What's up, man? You're on Super Talk.
Good. Yeah, I'm a GM retired person, and I live down close to the plant. And I remember when I came here in '96, and I retired in '09. I had 32 years combined with two different GM plants, and I see that they're putting this Ultimate cell plant down here. I'm sure you were probably aware of that. But anyway, those workers in there, and they haven't even got the plant ready to accept all the workers supposedly that they're going to hire. And you hear different stories, but then last I heard was they was going to hire about 20-some hundred people. First time I heard about it, they was going to hire about 3,500 when the plant's up and going full steam. But I just got a feeling that I don't think these vehicles, the electric vehicles, are going to go over. But anyway, getting back to the UAW and, the contract and everything, those people are well deserving of a big raise compared to what the CEOs get.
Yeah.
Because if you watch the commercial on GM where they're trying to get people to come back to work, or to hire people, and you see a guy on there with a socket wrench, and then you see some other people walking down the aisle, and then you see people, a group of people dancing like they're doing aerobics or whatever. Let me tell you something. That stuff don't happen online. You get online and they're in an assembly line, and you work your butt off. And now they're down to 2-tier wages, and they've been that way since the last probably 3 or 4 contracts. And when you hire in, you make probably around $14 to $16 an hour.
Yeah, they're saying
$16.50. People in there. Yeah, well, like me, I retired. I had 32 years almost, and when I retired, and that was in '09, and I was making close to $30 an hour then, and I was just an assembly line worker.
And in '09, $30 an hour was real money.
Exactly. Well, under the Biden, Bidenomics, $30 an hour now ain't nothing,
Yeah, crashing
compared
bikes
to
and
all of the
crashing
interest.
economies. That's Bidenomics.
Exactly. But those ads that GM runs for more people on the internet or on TV, whatever, that's a joke compared to what you've got to go through with. I mean, there's people that hire in there that after a few weeks or a couple months, they've got carpal tunnel and back problems and leg problems and just all kinds of medical problems.
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, that's painstaking labor.
It's a great company to work for. I mean, I'm retired. I've got decent insurance, through the UAW and stuff, which they take care of that now because GM used to cover the insurance. They don't do that anymore.
Weird.
They turned it over and they.
So being a former UAW member, would you support them going on strike now?
Yeah, I'd support them 100% because that's the only way. The only way that you're going to affect anything in any kind of situation, affect the big man, is to get into his pocketbook.
100%, Steve. I appreciate the call and I appreciate the insight, my friend. Thank you so much. It is 10:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Don't forget, after 11 o'clock, Alice Rowley is going to be chiming in with us, letting us know how things are looking on the ground. And if you haven't got out to vote in the Nashville mayoral race, it's a perfect time. Go hit your lunch break, grab something quick, and go vote. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for Paul Winkler, Inc. I got 4 kids, and me and my wife didn't have a financial plan until we met Paul. And with 4 kids, you can understand why financial stability is a big priority. We're thinking about weddings or college and all the things, right? All the things. And without a financial plan, we weren't sure how we were going to do it. Luckily, we got linked up with Paul. Now, because Paul and his team hold themselves to a higher level of fiduciary standard than is required, government regulators do what government regulators do. They require that I tell you I'm paid every time this commercial airs. And I am. That's fair. But it's because I got to sit down with Paul and have my financial questions answered honestly, quickly, concisely, and in a way that I could understand, that I decided to become a client myself. And I got to tell you, I'm impressed. Paul's a smart guy. He absolutely knows the financial world better than I do. But with Paul and his team, nothing is done on commission. And you've heard me say this before. This is one of the biggest things to me. Nothing is done on commission. So I know when they're helping me make my financial decisions, they're helping me make them for me, not for them. Plus, with Paul and his team, every office is run by a degree planner with over 20 years of experience, and their investment education that they provide to you is evidence-based and backed by Nobel Prize-winning research. So do what I did. Check these guys out. You can set up a 15-minute phone call, complimentary, right now on his website, paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com. And trust me, when you meet Paul, when you meet his team, you will feel the difference between Paul's team and the rest, because that experience equals confidence. So do what I did. Talk to one of his team members today. paulwinkler.com or call 615-851-1950.
11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Georgia election interference case update. Olivia Rubin says a judge has decided former President Trump and 16 of his co-defendants will stand trial separately from 2 others.
This is a big loss here, this ruling for the Fulton County DA, who just earlier this week had again asked the judge not to sever the case, noting that the office was well capable of trying a case against 19 defendants all at once, and that it would be a burden on the DA's office to break it up. But the judge essentially found the exact opposite. He said that it was absolutely necessary to sever the case.
Attorneys Kenneth Chesbrough and Sidney Powell will be going to trial together October 23rd. Trump's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, still trying to get his trial moved to federal court. The Spring Hill GM plant and others across the nation may be in a strike by this time tomorrow morning. Terry Moran is in Detroit.
They are talking, both sides saying that progress has been made, but they remain far apart. The companies have offered somewhere in the neighborhood of 20% raises for workers, but there are a lot more issues. Those pension benefits, the 2-tiered system of new hires and retiree medical benefits. There's still a long way on pay and on benefits.
Yeah, the union wants a 40% pay raise over a 4-year period and a 4-day work week. Right now in Memphis, FedEx says it's going to lay off what it calls a small percentage of IT and finance workers as part of its $4 billion cost-cutting plan. And right now in our nation's capital, Dave Packer has the details of a report on UFOs released today.
The Pentagon has traditionally investigated UFOs. Now, for the first time, NASA has taken a year-long look at what it's calling UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson.
And the top takeaway from the study is that there is a lot more to learn.
They don't seem to be from aliens.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin.
Nelson says the study of UAPs will require new techniques and a shift in perception. The report cautioning the stigma around reporting UAPs poses an obstacle to collecting data.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Chris Hand for the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin. Now, if you're dealing with pain and you don't like pills like me, you don't like needles like me, you're not a fan of surgery, but you still want to fix that pain in your life, well, I got the solution for you. It's the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin. Whatever kind of pain you're dealing with, back, neck, knee, hip, elbow, all of it can be treated with no needles and no downtime and absolutely no pills necessary. And at the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin, they've been helping people get back to a pain-free life for over 30 years. Now, it's crazy because when people get these injuries, they get prescribed the pills, and that leads a lot of people down the path of opioid addiction. And that's why the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin is so against the pills. They don't want you to suffer with your pain, and they don't want you to deal with addiction. So find a pill-free way to fix your pain right now at the Dr. Gill Center. And they're going to offer you a special offer if you're looking for non-surgical solutions for that pain. So right now, $49 will get you all of your new patient initial exams, x-rays, and a complete review of your findings. So less than $50 to find out what's causing your pain. Give the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin a call now and begin your journey in becoming pain-free. Call 615-882-4838. That's 615-882-4838. And tell them Chris Hand told you to call. Remember, my friends, don't take a pill. Call Dr. Gill. $11:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The date is September 14th. This could be a very, very big day for the city of Nashville. The mayoral race is going on right now, and joining us on the phone is my friend Alice Rowley. Alice, how are you? You're on Super Talk. Alice, what's up?
Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, you know, it is a good day. When I started at 6:45 at Cantrell's Market up in Goodlettsville, and there was a lady who was Miss Senior Tennessee out front taking a picture by my sign, and I thought, well, the angels are with us. That's a good sign.
I like it. I like it. So,
she had her crown and her tiara on. I mean, like, you haven't lived until you just randomly pull up and she's getting the word out. She said she was taking a picture there to make sure everybody knew to go vote and who to vote for.
Oh, that's awesome. So what are you seeing on the ground? Are you feeling encouraged? Do you feel like, we need more boots on the ground? Tell me what the temperature's like out there.
Well, we are not seeing any kind of like big turnout today. We saw 70,000 people turn out early, which was almost, 20,000 more than turned out early in the first election. So we just are continuing. We've got calls going all day, reminding people that haven't voted yet how important this election is, and we're not taking anything for granted.
No, it's a very important election. I talk a lot about blue cities failing, and then people always bring up, well, there's no Republican-run cities, and I say, well, we can do it here today.
There are, though, Chris, and the mayors of those cities, the group that they're in has endorsed me. It's called Community Leaders of America. So Fort Worth, Texas is not that much, difference in size than us. And they've got a great mayor, Maddie Parker. She's running that city well. And David Holt out in Oklahoma City is running that city very well. And so those are blue cities, Oklahoma City, a blue city with a red mayor, because I think he, as I do, have said, hey, let's not get involved in all these national political social issues. Let's run the city and stay out of the rest of it.
So what are you telling the people that today that are on the fence and don't know if they should choose you or choose Freddie? What's your elevator pitch today?
Yeah. Well, look, I think the question is over the last 8 years, do you believe that the city has been going in the right direction? And we see what's happened in the last 8 years. 3 times we've elected somebody from the city council and put them over in the mayor's office. And I think the definition of insanity is to keep doing what you've been doing and expect a different result. So I think it's as simple as, do you put somebody in there with executive experience who knows how to work with the federal and state partners that we have to get a result, or do you put somebody in there that thinks their job is to, entertain all the council members?
Yeah, seriously. So what are the big differences between you and Freddie? What where do you stand apart from him, and what do you want people to know? Because you look at like local news sources like Fox 17, and they'll say, oh, the candidates' platforms, O'Connell's is public safety, Rowley is crime reduction. Like, okay, well, but where are the differences?
Well, I think the differences are in the councilman's votes. The councilman voted multiple times against the police, and that is why, recently his vote on license plate readers, that is a pragmatic way to extend our force. We don't have enough officers now, and the police were supporting it. And also think it comes down to who are the police supporting. I have the endorsement of the police. He does not, so I don't think that he can say he is working on public safety. His website even says the best cities don't have the biggest police forces, and we know we don't have enough police. So I think he's telling us that he believes looking the other way on crime and having a small police force is the best way to run the city, and I disagree. So I think that is a pretty significant difference between the two of us. But you're right. Another big difference is, he's got the entire current Metro School Board endorsing him. And I think he thinks that's a badge of honor. But when only 20% of our kids are graduating career or college ready, our job as the mayor is not to be everyone's best friend. It's to be a critical friend. And when we're not getting the results for our kids, it's to hold people accountable. And I do worry that we'll continue the downward trajectory that we're on if we all just sort of worry more about the adults and less about the kids.
No, I don't think that's a badge of honor at all. When like you said, when you look at the literacy rates, we're not raising a strong generation currently if kids can't read by third grade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. And 10 years ago, then Mayor Carl Dean, he was very involved in the schools and also, had proposed at that time to say, hey, if they're not getting results and this school board is too political and they think that their job is just to protect the adults at all costs, he also had said maybe we need a different governance model. So then 40% of our kids were reading on grade level. I think having somebody who's a critical friend is really important.
No, I agree. So are you seeing a lot of people coming out and supporting you? I've heard that the voter turnout has been low in some areas. I had a friend text us from Old Hickory, said that there was only 62 votes there this morning.
Yeah, well, some of those parts of the county turned out really high in early voting. We had 400% more people vote in early voting in Green Hills than we did in the first round. We had 250% more in Belmead in the second round than the first round. So I do think a lot of people went ahead and banked their vote early, which we appreciate. But the day's not over. This morning when we got started, I'd say around Cantrell's Market, there are 15, 20 people there that, we kind of said, hey, raise your hand. Have you already voted? And it was about half and half. So it is important. We do know that we did 5 points better on election day in the first round than we did in early voting. I did 23% on election day and 18% in early. So we want to make sure people don't take it for granted and get out to the polls.
Cool. So you're not content with your early voting stats that you're seeing. You need more people to come out.
Oh, we're not content till we're done. We're going to run all the way through to the tape. We're running all the way to 7:00. But and then afterwards, your listeners are invited. We'll be at Plaza Mariachi after 7:00 after the polls close. We'll be there tonight and look forward to celebrating a big win for Nashville.
Let's do it. I'm really excited for you, Alice. I feel good vibes and good energy. So fingers crossed for you. We're pulling for you here at Super Talk.
Okay, thanks, guys. Bye, Chris.
Thank you so much. Good luck. Everybody go out and vote for Alice Rowley today for mayor of Nashville. She's super solid. Good lady. And I mean, the choice is absolutely clear between her and Freddie O'Connell. So fingers crossed that she gets out there and wins. This is a big day for the city. So I hope that people that are in Davidson that can get out there and vote, go and vote for Alice. So switching lanes, the impeachment inquiry is happening. Kevin McCarthy, maybe an hour ago, just called out a reporter for nonchalantly dismissing concerns about Joe Biden's involvement in Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings.
All right, last question.
Congressman Issa came out and said that both Chairman Jordan and Comer were not able to present anything that was an impeachable offense at this point. Is that an assessment that you share?
You know, impeachment inquiry is not impeachment. So what impeachment inquiry is to do is to get answers to questions. Are you concerned about all the stuff that was just recently learned? Do you have any concern?
Do you have any concern?
Have you asked the White House any questions? Yes. Okay. Do you believe the president lied to the American public when he said he'd never talked to his son about business dealings? Yes or no? It's all right. You can't answer that?
You can't answer that? You're not concerned? Have you asked the White House any questions?
Do you believe when they said the president went on conference calls? Do you believe that happened?
That's what the testimony says.
Okay. Do you believe the president went to Cafe Milano and had dinner with the clients of Hunter Biden, who believes he got those clients because he was selling the brand?
That's what the testimony says.
Okay. Do you believe Hunter Biden, when you saw the video of him driving a Porsche, that he got $143,000 to buy that Porsche the next day?
He also drove that Porsche through a residential neighborhood at about 170 miles per hour, smoking crack via a video that we found on the laptop from hell.
Do you believe the $3 million from the Russian oligarch that was transferred to the shell companies that the Bidens controlled after the dinner from Cafe Milano took place?
That was the same $3 million that Donald Trump called out in the 2019 debates that Joe Biden said was fake news.
Okay, then I go back. Do you think the president lied when he said
an impeachable is lying and impeachable?
Well, you want to know. I'm not saying impeachment. All I'm saying is I would like to know answers to these questions. The American public ought to know, and that's what impeachment inquiry provides.
Let's find out. No president should be above the law. I mean, Joe Biden said the same thing not too long ago about Donald Trump and his impeachment.
We have a president who believes there's no limit to his power. We have a president who believes he can do anything and get away with it. We have a president who believes he's above the law, pursuing the leader of another nation to investigate a political opponent to help win his election is not the conduct of an American president.
Weird. Those comments didn't age well. Nothing ages well with Joe Biden. That's where we're at. This is the thing. They're going to keep telling you there's no evidence. That's the playbook. There's no evidence, you guys. None. There's no evidence. I mean, there's plenty of evidence. I mean, even despite the impeachment inquiry, there's plenty of evidence that Joe Biden shouldn't be running. I mean, Joe Biden is losing his mind. Quite literally. He makes up stories left and right. John Kirby was actually asked about Joe Biden making up stories. And John Kirby yesterday dodged this question so skillfully. He was asked why Joe Biden so frequently makes up completely demonstrable false stories.
John, in the past couple of weeks, the president has lied about being at Ground Zero the day after the September 11th attacks. Falsely claimed he saw the Pittsburgh Bridge collapse. Claimed his grandfather died in the hospital days before his birth. What is going on with the president? Is he just believing things that didn't happen did happen, or is he just randomly making stuff up?
The president was deeply touched and honored to be able to spend 9/11 with military members there in Alaska and some families, and was honored by their presence and the chance to make an important set of remarks about why we need to continue to remember that day.
Oh, that wasn't an answer.
That weird.
That wasn't the question that the guy asked. So,
did I mention Bidenomics is working?
And he did that. And he spoke about a visit to Ground Zero, which he did participate in, about a week or so after the event. And what that looked and what that smelled and what that felt like. And it had a visceral impact on him, as it did so many other Americans on that terrible day. And he's focused on making sure that an attack like that never happens again.
He's focused on making sure an attack like that never happens again. Oh, weird. I mean, the border's wide open. But he's he's focused on making sure that never happens again. I mean, they're literally catching people that are on the terror watch list sneaking across our southern border. But the president's focused. And the question had nothing to do with that. The question was, why does Joe Biden so frequently make up completely demonstrably false stories? Why? Well, he visited the families, he visited the military in Alaska because it was an important day to remember. And he's laser focused on making sure it never happens again. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. All right, it is Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 11:21. Thank you for chiming in on the Super Text line. 4755 said, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. There is no evidence.
Bingo.
Yes, exactly. Don't look over there. What are you doing? 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Former President Trump and other defendants get a win in the Georgia election interference case. Details coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. That's exciting. Another thing that's exciting, something that I caught my eye, Rep. Tom Emmer. He, majority whip of the U.S. House of Representatives. He's from Minnesota. He's introducing a bill to keep the Federal Reserve away from central banking digital currencies. This is him just the other day.
It's good to be back in the People's House, where House Republicans are ready to continue delivering on our promises to the American people. One important aspect of our common sense agenda is actually protecting Americans' financial privacy, particularly when it pertains to this lawless administrative state. That's why I reintroduced a bill yesterday called the Central Bank Digital Currency Anti-Surveillance State Act.
This is important because if you look at what's going on in China, everything is linked to your social credit score. If the money becomes digital, they can turn off your bank account.
Which puts a check on unelected bureaucrats and ensures that the United States digital currency policy upholds our values of privacy, individual sovereignty, and free market competitiveness. Recent actions from the Biden administration have made it clear that they are not only itching to create a digital dollar, but they're willing to trade Americans' right to financial privacy for a surveillance-style CBDC. This bill ensures the future of crypto is in the hands of the American people, not the administrative state, by prohibiting the Federal Reserve from creating a tool with unfettered insight into Americans' financial data. If not open, permissionless, and private, like cash, a CBDC is nothing more than a CCP-style surveillance tool that can be weaponized to oppress the American way of life. We're not going to let that happen. Not on House Republicans' watch. And I want to thank the Financial Services Committee for considering our bill this month, and we're going to continue working to ensure that the digital economy is designed by Americans and emulates American values.
This is an important bill, something that we need to keep our eyes on, because if you look at what's been happening over the past few years, via COVID, via the advances in technology, you look at guys like the Canadian truckers and their protests and their bank accounts being shut down. You look at what happens in the communist countries like China, where everything's tied to a social credit score, and if you do the wrong things, your banking is closed down. It's crazy. It's crazy, and it's dangerous. If we go down this route, that is something we will never, ever get back again. So I want to just make everybody aware of this CBDC bill that Tom Emmer out of Minnesota is introducing. We need to get behind it. So call your Congress reps. I'll send a text to Andy Ogle's people. Like, we need to be behind this, because if we don't, we're looking at some trouble down the road for our kids and grandkids. I mean, having every purchase that you make being tracked by the government. And I know what you might say, that's already happening. That can already happen right now. I mean, you look at what banks like Bank of America did during Jan 6 and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it can happen. It can happen right now. But if we go even a step further, there's no coming back from it. Absolutely no coming back from it. Ask the truckers in Canada how it feels to have their banks shut down, for a wrong think. Is that a world that you want for your kids? Keep your eyes on this one. Rep. Tom Emmer introducing a bill to ban CBDC and keep it private and in the hands of American citizens. This is a big one. This is a big one. I'll keep you updated on it as updates become available. 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
11:30 on the dot this Thursday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories on this runoff election day in Nashville. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Georgia election interference case update. A judge today deciding former President Trump and 16 co-defendants will stand trial separately from 2 others in the state 2020 case. A win for Trump and other defendants who are trying to push out when they're slated to go to trial. By this time tomorrow, GM workers in Spring Hill could be on the picket lines if the big three automakers in the UAW cannot agree on terms by midnight. Here's member Paul Rossi.
It looks on paper like we're asking for a lot, but a lot of people have been left behind.
The union asking for a roughly 40% pay raise over a 4-year period and a 4-day work week. NASA's UFO report out today. The agency spent a year looking into UFOs and announced today they found no evidence that there was any extraterrestrial origin, but they acknowledged with billions of stars and billions of galaxies out there, another Earth could exist. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. One of the things you hear me talk about frequently on my radio show that has been going for over 20 years in the Nashville market is that annuity sales are not necessarily a great thing for the end investor. Now, if you go to an investment firm, a lot of times you'll get that. The first thing that they recommend, an annuity. Banks and investment firms recommend these for one really good reason. And many times that reason isn't the best thing for you. It's commissions. It's a huge moneymaker for the investing industry. This is why I think it's so important that when you work with an investment advisor, that they not be paid on commission. It creates a huge conflict because it creates an incentive to sell you things that may not be in your best interest. If you want to learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call. We don't do anything on commissions. Or you can call 615-851-1950.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I just mentioned Rep. Tom Emmer reintroducing a bill to keep central banking digital currencies in the U.S. private and not through the Federal Reserve. My friend Steve in Nashville called in. He has a comment on the CBDC, or FedCoin, if you will. What's up, Steve? You're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Chris, I really appreciate you bringing up this point. I think it's so important for your listeners and the public to be aware that the Fed's issuing of a CBDC could be the end of our freedom as we know it, if you think about it. Cash allows us to remain free and anonymous, or the privacy issue. Mm-hmm. But when they can come up with a programmable CBDC where pretty much all your money's on your, quote, smartphone, it's a dangerous thing. And I believe Governor DeSantis passed a law there in Florida that states that the Fed CBDC will not be implemented in the state of Florida. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure. I just think our representatives here in Tennessee, along with Governor Lee, need to do something similar, because the Fed CBDC is a very dangerous thing, and I really appreciate you making note of this, and please continue to follow up on this.
Yeah, no,
I think it's so important.
I think it's a big deal, because once we make that leap, there's no going back. And I fear, my biggest fear is that there will be some sort of banking collapse, and they'll say, don't worry, your deposits are secured, but you have to take it in FedCoin.
Exactly. And I believe there was just recently a few individual business owners in the state of Ohio. They were coin shop operators, obviously selling coins, silver and gold coins. And out of nowhere, their banks informed them that they were closing their bank accounts after 20-something years. Each of them had these bank accounts, and they didn't give a specific reason. But let's be honest here. The feds are putting pressure on these banks to go to a cashless society to where they can implement their CBDC. And we're seeing it here in Nashville. I know a lot of main retailers are going to cashless systems, which is just trying to get the public prepared for that. And I think we need to stand up to stop this. It's like you said, it's very important. And I do thank you for talking about it. Thanks so much, Chris.
No, I appreciate the call, Steve. And I do think it's important. I think we need to rail against anything digital ID, digital money. They can shut you down. I just got a text from 2528. He said, I had an ex-Special Forces guy teach traffic school class once. He told us eventually everything from our money to our license will be connected to our phone. And if they don't want you to have money or drive your car, they'll stop you with a few clicks. And that's the scariest part about it. You'll say it can never happen here. Well, I mean, let's look at COVID. They can't shut down our economy. They can't shut down our businesses. It happened. It literally happened. And if we accept it, then we're screwed. There's no going back if we accept it. I had a story a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week, about Major League Baseball trying out ticketless entry via facial recognition software. Like, all of this stuff seems separate, but it's also connected. If your facial recognition is connected to your ID, which is connected to your digital currency, which is connected to your social media accounts, we're marching towards that social credit system that we see in communist China. And if we walk down that alley, there's no coming back. And if we accept it as adults, then our kids are going to know nothing different. They're not even going to know to resist it. It's just going to be something that's normal for them. Like when the Social Security cards were announced and you had a Social Security number, people railed against it. People didn't want it. They didn't want the number tied to them. But now we're issued that number. We don't even think about it. Do you even think about your Social Security number, Mac?
No.
But
it's normal.
Yeah, exactly. And people were so against it when it started out. And that's my biggest fear, that if we normalize this stuff, that we're going to desensitize the youth to it, and then it's going to become normal. And it's like, it's normal for the government to shut off your bank account if you do the wrong thing.
Oof.
Right?
And then whatever's next after that to normalize, that's frightening, man.
And look at how the Overton window has shifted on what you can say and what you can't, what you get kicked off social media for versus what's allowed. You only get punished for wrongthink now. So if they can just shut you down, and then you can't buy food? I saw a video of a woman in China visiting family, and she had to have a phone linked to a bank account from her cousin. She had to do facial ID on her phone, and then she would have to pay for things with the phone. But she kept getting shut down, so she couldn't even go buy like a hamburger or some small food. It's the craziest thing. Mark in Bellevue, you have a comment on central banking digital currency. You're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Mark?
Hey, I just want to agree with the last call, and also Unicoin, where there's an iris recognition, and it's all about, like you said, there'll be no freedom, and since total enslavement, if they're watching your money, they're going to control with what you buy, what you can buy, and how much of it that you can buy. It's just the serfdom, peasant, slave society. So I'll hang up with that, and I think that's what the Democrats are trying to do.
No, 100%, and I agree with you. It's like if they can track everything you buy, like, oh, you buy a Ben Shapiro book, you buy a Tucker Carlson book, and it's connected to this digital currency, oh, you just made a list. You're on the list now. Even if you didn't agree with the book, you just wanted to read it, you're on the list. It's scary. It's scary to think about what can come. And I see a lot of texts saying, oh, mark of the beast, mark of the beast. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. 3616 texted and said, we need our state leaders to put forth a bill that stops banks from forcing us to go cashless. Yeah, we do. I'll push for it. I don't think that we should be doing that. Ray in Clarksville, you have a comment on central banking digital currency. Ray, you're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Ray?
Hey, how you doing? Hey, I just heard the conversation about the digital money or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Your last caller had a great point. If they could control what you buy, what if they make you go to this and say, well, you can't buy a firearm unless, we approve it, and you got to use digital currency. Now you have a problem, right?
Hey, man, that's exactly what I was kind of getting at with, like, you buy something like a Tucker Carlson or a Ben Shapiro book, and all of a sudden you're on the right-wing extremist list, and then, yeah, you're not allowed to buy a firearm. Or you buy a firearm and you're on a list, too.
Yes, sir. And, freedom dies in darkness. And I don't know if you're old enough to remember East and West Germany. I am. I served in the military during that time frame. I actually served some time in Berlin. And the old East German secret police, I think they were called the Stasi.
Yep.
They would have loved to have the tools at our disposal today. But I'll say one last thing and I'll leave. I think we have 17 intelligence agencies in the United States. And you know what? If everybody knows everything about you, then there is no freedom, right? Because we all have things in our past that probably some of us will die with. But like I say, who watches these people, they have access to all this data. Do they get mad and, run a plate of a guy who may be dating their girlfriend or less? What if you're a senator and you may be doing something that's not illegal, but it's probably not, too popular. And then one day some guy walks in your office and says, hey, Senator so-and-so, you're not supporting our bill, but, we found out that you're going to this house every Friday night and staying all night, and you're married and it's not your wife. So you see, it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's crazy. And I am old enough to remember East and West Berlin. My father-in-law actually served in the military on the Berlin Wall. And thank you for your service, Ray. I appreciate the call. John in the borough, you have a comment on digital currency. You're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, John?
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, one thing that a lot of people aren't realizing, you've got all these big communication companies, promoting the iPhones and the Samsung flip phones, and it's like dangling a shiny new toy in front of a kid.
Yep.
And they're enticing everyone with all of these new gadgets that is making it easier and more convenient for people to pay digitally. I was in the store the other day and a guy walks up with his watch and touches the credit card machine. I mean, when they make it convenient and they make it like it's the new in thing and everybody wants to be a part of a status,
yep,
that's how they're sucking all the people into this. And we need to realize that we need to stop living by status and start living by our morals and our values.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, the keeping up with the Joneses stuff is ridiculous. I'm not a fan of it. And I appreciate the call, John. Thanks so much. Yeah, they always sneak it in by ease of convenience. You know, we are a lazy people in this country. We have it so good we don't even realize it. But I got a text from 3616, and he's so right. All you have to do is look at what happened at the trucker strike in Ottawa. I brought that up too. The government shut down their banks, and anybody that was there, license plate readers took their information and stopped them from buying and paying their bills. Could you imagine that? So your bank gets shut down? You can't even pay your electric bill? 6681 said the Amish lifestyle is starting to look appealing. You're not lying, 6681. Like more and more, I feel like the Amish have it right. Steve in Franklin, you have a comment on the central banking digital currency. Steve, you're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up?
Just wanted to make a comment. SB 268 already passed the House and Senate in the state of Tennessee, which enacts Money Transmission Modernization Act. It redefines money as a currency agreed upon by the intergovernmental agencies or more governments and paves the way for a global and central bank currency in Tennessee. It's already passed. We're too late, man.
Hey, you know what? It wouldn't shock me if we are too late. I mean, we're all walking around with government tracking devices in our pockets, right? So if we very, very well could be too late. You know, it's just crazy. But this is going to be the biggest fight that we have that's coming up in the very near future. Do you want the government to be able to shut down your bank account for wrongthink? Do you want every purchase you make to be cataloged? I mean, sure, we may already be there. We may already be there. I mean, if you use your debit card everywhere you go, you can make the argument that we're already here. I mean, it's crazy, though. First-time texter 7505 said, even something simple as, well, you've already had meat once this month. You can't buy anymore, to help with climate change. Seriously. And thanks for the text, 7505, first-time texter. You look at what's happening in London right now with their ultra-low emission zones. Have you heard about this? The ultra-low emission zone, where license plate readers are set up, and if you have a car that's too old, that's not green and friendly, you're getting charged a fine every single day. It's crazy. It's scary. JT said, I'll go Amish, except for washing machines, air conditioner, and indoor plumbing, and deodorant. At least JT has a line in the sand.
I feel you, JT.
Yeah, I mean, but you get caught with wrongthink, JT, and that washing machine, air conditioner, and indoor plumbing just gets shut off because you can't pay the bill. It's scary. It's absolutely scary. I think that this is a big fight. This is going to be a big fight. Terry said Cash App, Venmo. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you hear about what happened with Cash App?
No.
So there was a big glitch with Cash App, and Cash App, people realized that there was a glitch, and they could send themselves money.
Whoa.
So people started sending themselves money on Cash App, right? Then when people when Cash App caught on, because inevitably people post these videos of $40K in their account on TikTok, Cash App inevitably went and took the money back. So people are waking up and they have negative $40K.
Whoa.
I saw one guy, he said it says point of view when the Cash App glitch goes wrong, and he opened up his Cash App account, it said negative $39,388. What do you think is going to happen? It's crazy. Be careful on these social media trends, especially when it involves these payment systems. And then be careful with this digital currency. Be informed. Get informed. 1205 texted in and said, I'm a cash girl. I do not have a credit card. I have a reloadable debit that I only use when absolutely necessary. No checking account, but I do have a savings account. When I need money, I go to the bank. Cash is king. 1205, absolutely based. Absolutely based. It's 11:49. Matt Murphy's on his way in next. We're going to check in with him before we get to the Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Joined by the one and only Matt Murphy.
Hello.
Hazmat Matt.
I am I got to tell you, I'm coming around on the Trump in studio.
The framed mugshot.
Yeah. I'm coming around. I just said hello to him.
He did. He waved. It's up high. It's like he's looking down on us.
Looking at us from above. All will be well, my children.
A watchful eye.
He's like the watchman.
Yeah. Who watches the watchman?
What's up, Hand? How are you?
I'm good, man.
How's the show today?
It's been fun.
Yeah?
It's been fun.
Yeah? You continue to, you and Weaver. I listened to you and Ken Weaver confuse Mandis this morning, and it delighted me.
What did we confuse him about?
You said something about gas.
Oh, yeah.
About gaslighting. And Weaver said, they're not doing that.
Yeah, there's no such thing.
And everybody laughed. And then Mandis said, what's going on? Why is everybody laughing?
Yeah.
It was a delight. That's why we love Dan Mandis. I love Dan Mandis so much.
To be fair, Dan is also in the weeds on the super text line during that break. So he's like trying to see what super texts are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he just missed
the punchline.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was fun.
What is up in the world today? You know what? I've done virtually zero show preparation. So should be an interesting 3 hours.
All right.
Yeah. I'm just being, I mean, all I could do is be honest at this stage of the proceedings. Democrats bad.
Democrats bad. Did you hear Mitt Romney's retirement speech?
I did see that yesterday.
It was a combo of old man bad, orange man bad.
Yeah, Mitt Romney reminded me of George Costanza's father in on Seinfeld.
Yeah,
the airing of the grievances. I got a lot of things to say about you people, and you'll sit here and you'll listen. I mean, it was like, I'm just gonna air the grievance. It's like, dude, nobody wants you. Everybody still wants Trump. Can you not see the disconnect there?
Yeah.
You are about to get your butt trounced in Utah. That's why you're not running again.
100%.
And, whatever. Live in your own world there.
Yeah.
Mr. Magic Underpants.
It's exciting.
You know Mitt Romney has magic underpants.
I do.
I mean, not that I'm casting aspersions. Whatever religious faith you want, that's your business. But just know that Mitt Romney wears magic underpants.
It's interesting.
I do not wear underpants.
Yeah. I mean, I like Jesus. I'm not into space Jesus as much. I'm just saying. I don't know. It's just me. Hey, happy Friday Eve. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.